So Satan's wife is much more dangerous. One of the Chachamim said that one of his wars in a mystical world, when he faced the Satan, he was able to beat him instantly. He had no problem beating him, but when it came to his wife, he almost couldn't handle it. To explain to us that she is stronger than him, to the extent that the Satan himself is submissive to her. He is submissive to her. In fact, Hashem instilled power in the woman that really the whole world is submissive to them. The women have a certain power within them that they can get certain things done in the world that men cannot. In fact, they could submit mostly any man. It's not a coincidence. It's rather a power that Hashem instilled into the world. And the same even in the spiritual. Whatever happens here happens over there. So even the Satan, according to some of the sages' teachings and more of the mystical aspects of the Torah, Satan is submissive to her. Who is she originally? One of the teachings says that she was the original Chava. She was the original wife of Adam HaRishon. She was the first wife that he had. She did not want to be with him. She left him to go with the Satan. And Hashem gave Adam HaRishon Chava that we know, which is not his first wife. Again, this goes into higher education type of teachings, but the point being is, he is submissive to her. One of the reasons is because she breeds. She breeds the soldiers from the sins. Every time a man sins, that sin, that seed goes into her. And that breeds all types of soldiers, or there are different names for them too, that come into the world and in essence serve her, him, and so on. So she is the queen bee, if you will, that 500 bees serve. And only in this case it's much larger numbers. And everyone's scared of her because, again, everyone's willing to die for her, everyone's willing to fight for her, and so on and so forth, including the king himself, which is the Satan. But that's also why she is so powerful that the only name that I know that she has, you're not allowed to say. Whereas he has a name that you're not allowed to say, that starts with the S, but he has other names that are descriptions of him or aspects of him that you're allowed to say, like Satan, or Yetzer Hara, or Malach HaMavet. Those are his names, but they're not really the name that you're allowed to say those names. There is a name that he has that's you shouldn't say, but with her, it's not that you shouldn't say. You're not allowed to say. Why? It's dangerous. Point being is that this is high stuff. Not even I don't really know what I'm talking about here, but I just don't think that I know. But again, it's I think that a lot of the mystical teachings are very, very interesting, and they actually fill in the gaps in a lot of other teachings. But a person needs to also not focus on it too much, simply because, number one, it takes your time, and number two, it could take you to Never Never Land and get you to a point where you're living in that Never Never Land and forgetting the basics. I have a few people that I know that are addicted to this stuff, and they don't even know how to keep Shabbat. You understand? So that's the thing. So yeah, it's extremely interesting. Your question is fantastic. Continue asking those types of questions. But again, beyond this stuff, don't go into YouTube and start looking up this stuff and I want to hear a whole shiur about the Satan's wife. Or some people want to hear about specific unique creatures within the Tanakh and the whole shiur just about it. The reason why I say is, number one, it won't help you in your life. Number two, most of the teachings that's available about it on the internet is coming from non-valid sources, Christians, idol worshippers, and the likes. And three, come on now. Focus on what you have to do. Focus on how you have to do it. Focus on the things you need to do. It's interesting, but keep it under control. That's my recommendation. You don't want to listen? Chavod, you want to go learn about reptilian people and an animal that was half man, half human, and that was connected to the ground. You want to go learn about that stuff? Chavod, go enjoy. But it's not going to help you in your life. I know about it because it came through the studies and midrashim and so on. But I promise you, I never watched an entire shiur about reptilian people or mystical creatures. 5 minutes, 10 minutes here and there. in the grand scheme of things, it's not a big deal. But when you start having an obsession with it, and I see some people have an obsession with the Nephilim, the giants of the Torah, and they get to a point where they're willing to watch anything that anyone ever said about it, even if the source is not valid. So what ends up happening is that their whole brain is full of junk. Some of it is true, so it sounds like they know what they're talking about. Some of it is completely idolatry or heretical. Some of it is just complete, fabrication that somebody made. So the whole world is just stupid. It's just stupid. So again, you have to contain your a little bit of different things is not a problem, but a lot of stuff that's not useful in your day-to-day life is not healthy for your neshama.
אני מברך את הרבנים, הרב ירון ראובן, הרב אפרים כחלון, ראשי ארגון בעזרת השם, שהלכו בפי עליון, שעלו מעלה, יהיה להם ברכה והצלחה, הקדוש ברוך הוא ימלא בישועות ליבם לטובה ולברכה, שבכל אשר יפנו ישכילו ויצליחו, יזכו לעשות כאלה וכאלה, הודיעו תורה לאדירה, אמן ואמן.